Welcome to the 51st episode of the UTBB podcast. I'm your host, Sharon Bush.
And I'm your other host, Kate the Bluegrass Skeptic.
And I'm Adam Fusion. And right now, Joe is out sick at the moment. He may pop in eventually and join us again, but we miss him and hope he gets to feeling better.
Yeah, and I don't want his cooties, so he can just stay in bed.
Yeah.
I guarantee you catch much more than cooties from him.
Ew.
Well, tonight we're going to be discussing exploding goblin heads, witchcraft at home and abroad, and how Georgia is a great big pussy for not having hate laws. And guess what, folks? We're going to catch up on our friend Jayda Fransen. Kate, what has Jayden been up to?
Well, Britain's first own Xena Warrior Princess for Christ has managed to get herself arrested. She found out it's not nice to be a cunt. And it's even worse to be a cunt wearing a political costume, apparently. So, yeah, we're going to get into that, too, and kind of follow up on her briefly. But just going to open a bigger dialogue, because we want to also kind of touch base on what's happened in Brussels, Ankara, Pakistan, and somewhere in Nigeria. They've had so many suicide bombings this week. It's just been horrible.
Yeah.
The claws are out, ladies and gentlemen. You better hang on. It's going to be a good show. And our topics pretty much include some fucked up form of Southern Harry Potter show. Let's get it on.
All right.
Welcome back to Unbuckling the Bible Belt, episode 51. This is Adam Fusion, and we're fixing to go into something that's just absolutely horrible. Hogwarts basically goes genital warts in this southern version of Harry Pussy Potter. It's a messed up episode, folks. It's where Dumbledore goes backdoor. Let's get it going.
Oh my
gosh.
Lord, Dumbledore goes backdoor. I don't know if Dumbledore's going backdoor as much as Dumbledore's going just straight up crazy.
No.
I mean, this is the South. He could be jumping on the witch's stick for all we know.
Well, if we lived in Ghana, people probably would think that he did jump on a witch's stick, and I'm sure Harry Potter's not popular reading material down there.
No, not at all, and I'm pretty sure I stumped you on that intro, but let's go ahead and get into the story here.
Okay.
Go ahead and tell us.
I didn't mean to cut you off, man. I would.
No, have at it. It's totally your turn. Totally your turn.
I'm sorry. All right, well, tonight we're going to be talking about exploding goblin heads and witchcraft. And so there are countries where people think that witches are real, Ghana being one of them. And in Ghana, you can be killed for being a witch. And you can be brutally abused, and all these terrible things can happen. And so to keep witches away, one thing that shamans have done is like sacrifice goblins, and the goblin.
Whoa! Wait a minute!
Yeah.
Is this Ghana? Is this in Ghana, Africa?
Yeah.
Well, this is actually.
Oh, I thought this was on the other side of town or something.
This is actually the goblin story. This is actually in Zimbabwe.
Oh, Zimbabwe.
It's Zimbabwe. But Ghana does have the same problem. Though I haven't read any reports lately of goblins being beheaded during a deal gone wrong. It's like a cleansing ceremony. It's supposedly what happened at this place in Zimbabwe. But they do believe in this kind of things also in Nigeria and Ghana and all parts of Africa, unfortunately.
Now, why are they? Why are they going after? What makes a witch a witch?
Basically superstition, with older women. This is something that actually Joe had mentioned to us. It was on the Scathing Atheist. It's about that whole Santaba it's a city where they actually have women that live in camps outside of towns because they're old, they're more vulnerable, they don't provide anymore for their families enough. So people start calling them witches and banish them out of the villages. Their own
so basically when a woman is old and probably no longer has any family, which could also be the case,
use.
she's pretty much banished out to the city,
or when
outside the city.
vagina starts producing baby powder instead of wetness, she's banished.
She's gone. I mean, that's if they haven't, like, killed them first. I mean, they've been known to be lynched, abused.
Well, I think you can be considered a witch for something as weird as having a bump between your eyes and people calling it your third eye.
Well, I think that's the American version. I don't think they really do that over there so much as it is. It's just anything. If you're in a family in Ghana and let's say that week you lose 2 goats out of your herd of 12,
right? They
need somebody to blame. And
scapegoating.
I know, not horrible. I see what you did there. But essentially that's what they do. They blame the person who's useless. It's not. Do they need somebody to take their aggravation? They have to have a reason besides it's just shitty luck that it happened.
You're right.
It's like there has to be an absolute fucking reason why this happened, not just something is out
or
to
some
get
type
me.
of disease or
something is out to get me is everybody's attitude, and that's one of the problems, especially in a city called Santaba. It's in Ghana's northern region. And Scathing Atheist had a gentleman on, I think his name was Warren, who had spoken about this. They've got a fund drive going right now where they're trying to help reintegrate women back into the villages.
Right.
By, they got certain amounts. If you provide $50, it'll pay for the departure ceremony for one woman accused of witchcraft. If you pay $90, it provides zinc for roofing for one integrated woman. $300, you cover all housing, transportation, everything she needs to fit in with society again. Just to make it acceptable. Basically.
All right. So what's still the cause of this over in Ghana? Yeah, I have seen. Everybody knows the history about how a lot of religion is behind the cause of witches in itself.
Yeah.
And I want to say I remember seeing a few posts of people who are still running missionaries over to Ghana.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean,
it's a big part of it. Unfortunately, we have a lot of pastors here in the U.S. that, since they can't spread their extreme feelings on demons and that here, they do go to these African villages with their notions, and these people need an escape from reality. We all know religion is basically an escapist way out of reality. That's why you have heaven and hell. And mind the audience now. The majority of what's going on in Ghana and all that, these are Christians. These are not Muslims doing this. These are Christians.
Ghana is a pretty majority Christian nation.
And Zimbabwe as well, where this goblin head supposedly exploded. I know we're laughing about it, but actually the story, 5 people ended up dead from this because they had a traditional healer come in to carry out a cleansing ceremony. And apparently a guy acquired a goblin from a neighboring country to try and get himself some wealth and prosperity. And then the goblin became, I think they said, troublesome, was making demands. It almost sounds like a fucking pissed off leprechaun, right?
I was about to say.
And you need to get rid of it, right? So he's like, oh fuck, I can't do anything with it. So he called in this healer and somebody else, and everybody was in there. The ceremony's going to cost $15,000 to get rid of this goblin. Now, man, keep in mind, pictures or it didn't happen. There are no pictures, but there was an explosion. People are dead, and the 2 people survived, which was a traditional healer and a survivor of the household, I guess. They're claiming it was a fucking goblin, and that when they started cleansing the house, the goblin started fighting back, and suddenly there was a boom. And everybody was dead, including a 7-month-old child.
What were they cleaning the house with? Gasoline?
No.
It's hard to say, but guys, this explosion, it damaged 12 other houses.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Right?
That's a major gas explosion. That's not
powerful.
That's not an oil lamp exploding.
Either. It's not like they're in a trailer park in the U.S. and southern Tennessee somewhere in Westmoreland.
Yeah, that's some serious meth making shit.
Yeah. So, but this, while it's funny on one aspect, at the same time it's sad because you got a kid that died from this kind of religious bullshit. And I'm thinking that this goblin's causing trouble. What was it? I wouldn't be surprised if it was a slave that they bought from another country.
Or a poor,
I bet it was a person. I bet it was a person
who was malformed or
something. And then, for
something
whatever
was wrong with
reason,
them.
things went really fucking bad. Maybe the person tried to kill themselves to be free from the slavery. Who knows? But that's just what's so horrible about it. And it's like all over the place. Like, you have the same problem in Nigeria. Children are constantly being shunned from their families and abandoned. They're being called witches and thrown out to fucking die. Kids.
Yeah, I've seen articles
And
on
they
that.
actually blame kids. The idea is that a child has been put under a spell and given the power to wreak havoc. Kids cause
Right.
fucking problems. It's not a spell. They're fucking
Right.
immature. And kids can be assholes. I think we can all agree, right?
Oh yeah, kids can definitely be assholes.
Oh my god, they're horrible at times. And it's like, this is not acceptable though. It's not possible for kids to be assholes in this culture. Kind of like with evangelicals. Your child is an asshole not because you're a shitty parent. Satan. And it's
Right.
the same thing over there to the extreme, where over there they don't have laws protecting kids from being thrown out. 5, 6, 7-year-olds thrown out. Little girls thrown out on the street. They get raped. They get abused. They get sent into sex slavery. Boys, same problem. I've seen pictures where they've got a kid crawling across trying to get back to his village. He's sick. He weighs all of 12 pounds and he's 7 years old. And nobody wants to feed him because they're sure he's cursed. All they need to do is give this kid water and food and take care of him. They won't do it. Because they're afraid by helping him, they're cursing their home. And these are Christians.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the
we-
Bible does have. I mean, the Bible does say, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch." So
It's an
Yeah,
awfully
I was going to
convenient
go into that
excuse.
next.
biblically based witchcraft, I
Yeah.
suppose.
It is. The only reason we don't have that accepted here in the States anymore is because we've got laws against it. Because, I mean, we see
Oh,
parents
thank
throwing out their
God.
LGBTQ children all the time. Still, they try to throw them away here for that. And I can only imagine if we didn't have other laws in place for all the other kids. So, it's just one of those things. And so, if anybody's interested, just real quick before we continue on this discussion, but if you want to help, you can go to Sungtaba's got. If you go to the Atheist, the Scathing Atheist webpage, I'm sure you all are familiar with Scathing Atheist. It's episode 161. In the show notes, there is a link to go contribute funds to help the women in Sungtaba in Ghana, to be reintegrated. If you want to help the kids, and this is all over Africa, who are going through this kind of witchcraft bullshit, you can go to www.safechildafrica.org. And go to look under child witches. I contribute to this one because it's just so tragic. It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, people are using any excuse essentially. If the child's just unmanageable, they want to blame it on Satan or whatever. They don't want to admit they don't know what the fuck they're doing as a parent, or that the child has other issues that need to be dealt with. That's logical.
I mean, mental illness in third world countries like that
I know.
can't even there's
Nothing.
no possibility that it would even be diagnosed because they don't have access
Exactly.
to the medical resources that they need to diagnose it.
Yeah.
And so
These fuckers don't have access to water.
right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is all these poor people who are being called witches are probably people who have mental health issues that will go undiagnosed all their lives.
And then
And
you
they'll
have
have to-
children. Yeah, and then
Right.
and with the kids, it's kids being kids, and the parents are ill-equipped because they're so burdened with just trying to provide. They don't even have the time to parent or to understand their child, because over there you just keep popping out babies. Because it's kind of like what we used to do back in the day. We'd pop out tons of kids because the mortality rate was so fucking high, and we need kids to help on the farm.
Right.
Kind of the same concept over there. And
My God, have you been to Kentucky lately?
I live in it, bitch.
She lives there.
Whenever you're talking about some of these problems, and I see a lot of them happening right here in the back door of Tennessee.
Yes, it still happens here, but not to this extreme, but it's still here. People are
Yeah,
so
it's still
stressed,
here, too.
And it's like, I try to get people to understand this larger dialogue of what's going on here in these other countries like this. Harry Potter and his little house under the stairs, I know he was treated like shit by the Muggles, but goddamn, he had it good compared to
Yeah,
what
he
these
did.
people are going
Yeah,
through.
that's white privilege right there.
He needs to just check his shit and chill the fuck out. Boy, if you saw the rest of the world, you'd be grateful. It's that
And-
bad.
And these witches have no hope of their Hogwarts
No.
letter coming, whether they're 11 or not.
They have nothing.
They
nothing.
have no hope.
They have nothing.
And it's really sad.
Here's your
because-
Gideon's Bible, kid. Good luck.
I know.
yeah, that's what they hand them as a freaking Bible.
But they do the same thing around here.
I know.
And then they hate on Planned Parenthood, and then hate on having to pay for the kids that mothers can't take care of.
Yep.
Oh,
that's religion.
But I mean, part of it is because they're trying to explain their world. They can't. They have no schema for this world that they live in, and
Absolutely
the only
not.
thing that the only garage they can park their car in is the magical realm that doesn't really exist, but that's the only explanation that they have.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that's why they go for this kind of religious belief, you know. And it's not too far off from... They didn't used to be this way. That's what really kills me. Yes.
oh, really? How did they used to be?
They were tribal, but they didn't abandon their people like what they're doing now. Really, this Christianity has really twisted their sense of family.
right. I mean, the old and most...
Yeah, but they really don't know any other way after how many decades? Because Christianity has been all over Africa for what, 6, 7 centuries?
Yeah, and take into account, too, Adam, that this type of behavior and belief is brought to the U.S. when they immigrate as well. I have a friend.
Oh, absolutely.
I've got a friend, she's in college. She came out to her mom as an atheist, I guess, a couple years ago. It got so bad. Her mom started circulating rumors among family here in the U.S. that she thinks maybe she's possessed by a demon. She wants to get her daughter exercise because she just cannot accept that her daughter was not going to follow in her footsteps of tradition. So it just made sense that there's something wrong with this girl.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. I've seen the stories about the refugees shipping their 12, 13-year-old daughter back to Ghana and Nigeria to have their clits removed.
That too. Yeah. I mean, and they bring these same values and ideals of, well, if they're not willing to follow what's traditionally accepted in our family, they're possessed. It's got to be Satan at work here. There's got to be something I can do to change the way they're thinking.
Now, I have done some research on that just because, well, you know,
Yeah.
I love the clip.
Well, yeah, but it's good to know what's going on and what
You know, but I've done lots of searches on it, but I haven't been able to nail down a single source as to where this ritual came from. Was this something that was tribal before Christianity, and Christianity just decided to say, you know, or
It's
decided to not do
Christian at all.
I
anything
don't
about
think
it?
it has
It's not
anything to
Christian
do with
at all.
religion.
It's not religious at all. It's not Muslim. It's not anything like that. This is strictly
It prevents
cultural
Yeah.
thing, and it's not.
It's-
But at no
acceptable
point
at
in
all.
time has any of the religions come in and said, don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I believe that missionaries now are coming in with medical staff and saying, "Don't do this, don't,"
Yeah.
because it's harmful in more than one way. I mean, it's
Oh yeah.
psychologically harmful, it's medically, physically harmful. I think that missionaries that come in now are saying this is not a good idea, don't do it, because it's being promoted worldwide to stop this, and some countries have legislated that it be stopped. So
Yeah, but at the same time, you've got the same people that have already been put in place in Nigeria. You got the Christian pastor from Massachusetts. I don't remember his name offhand, but the one who's basically passed laws that have imprisoned gays and even put them to death.
well, I think that has nothing to do with female genital mutilation.
Well, I mean, it does not have the same aspect of what Christianity is doing over there. They might be trying to do something good in one aspect, but at the same time, there's another group right now over there saying that the gays in the same country should be put to death.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that I think that in this one instance, the missionaries are saying to the people in the country, to the women in the country, stop doing this now. Whether or not they're promoting gays being locked away or even killed is completely a different, that's a completely different topic. I don't know anything.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm getting at is female
Female genital mutilation?
Yes, thank you. Has been going on for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Christianity has been enrolled for at least 600 to 700 years over the country, or most countries there. And at the same time, it's still a problem today. Why is it today that they're just now coming out and saying, don't do this, this might be bad? I mean, is it because it's actually getting some publicity?
It's
right,
awareness.
I think it's,
It's technology. This is really technology. This is how Al Gore's internet has helped
can
spread
save the world.
the world. it has helped spread awareness because, 200 years ago, people might have read about it here and there in a newspaper, but it wouldn't be a constant flow of realizing how frequently this is happening. Also,
and you wouldn't have known that people are sneaking their daughters out of the country to have it done if we didn't have this open forum where the people who it's being done to can either openly with everybody they know or surreptitiously go online and post that it's being done to them. I mean, we didn't have this. Yeah.
And doctors are finally, reporting it when they see it. To try and help prevent it. Because, I've seen some of the complications because some of them are extreme. Some of them just cut off the labia. Other ones, so everything's shut except for a tiny hole to let out urine and menstrual blood. And that's it.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't know it was and then you know what happens on wedding night? I would hope you know. They just slice that bitch right back open and have their way.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the wedding
to
night.
Prevent
sexual
any
pleasure.
Sex before.
Well, to prevent pleasure too. It's part of it too. They don't expect the women's to never have pleasure, and so I can only imagine on my wedding night if I'm 19 or 21, whether it's
if you're lucky to be 19 or 21.
And whether I'm in Saudi Arabia or if I'm in Africa to my wedding night, and I don't have a hole big enough to accept him, and he's just going to slice it open real quick and just have his way. Fuck you, okay? Fuck that.
That's horrible, man.
And that's what happens.
That's disgusting.
That's what happens.
Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know we went to that extreme.
Yeah,
it
does.
And some of the things I've done lots of reading on female genital mutilation, and some of the times there is no doctor involved. It's an old woman who's in a leader in the community. You go into this room that you may or may not be lucky enough to have curtains around you. She spreads your legs open, and sometimes if you're lucky again, you get a brand new razor, but most of the time she uses just an old rusty razor. She grabs the hood of your clit and your labia and just slices, and you're given some paper towels to hold down there while you bleed potentially out, and that's the last time anybody looks at your private parts. You're told to take care of that yourself.
Yeah, because they don't want it to be discovered. Now, Britain, if they find out or discover it, they will go after the parents later. If they find out about it, they will now prosecute. The U.S., this is what's really messed up, and this is something I had to talk with folks about, because here in the U.S. we have a problem with it too, where girls are sent off and they come back. And what's really messed up is that some girls, they're over 18 and their families send them off, and people are like, but if they're over 18 they can say no. I'm like, not if they're they're not integrated yet. They don't know that they can defy their parents. I know families that have been in the country for at least 2 generations. The daughters will still, without fail, do whatever they are told by their father. They're fucking 22, 23 years old.
And lots of times, even these 22, 23-year-old women are kept in the dark about what's going to be done to them. They're just sent home. They think they're going to see their aunt or their uncle at home, and they don't realize until they are up on that table with their legs spread and somebody's slicing their genitals off what exactly is happening. They're so shell-shocked by the fact that they were made to do this, they don't speak out until it's too late.
They're ashamed. They figure they're ruined now. Who's going to want that? And, they feel like they're ruined. After they know what is or is not okay after being in this country long enough to kind of mature. What stinks, though, is in the U.S., as long as you're over 18, it's legal to go get it all cut off. And I really wish they would outlaw it in our country altogether and make it to where they have to leave the country to get this done.
Now, I was researching this as well. I didn't see it going back towards a specific religion, but I didn't see it specified in other religions as well. It just seems to be like a ritual that has even moved out and even into Muslim nations as well. But as Hindu,
it's in any religion, or any, if you want to say religion, any country where women are supposed to be
chattel.
Yeah, where women are supposed to be lesser than men. It has really nothing to do with religion. It has to do with control. A country where a woman's place is supposed to be.
In Christianity, women are basically cattle as well.
They are. That's why it happens in Africa like it does. But they hide behind Christianity. But the reality is, most of the pastors in Africa, in some of these northern African communities that do this, they do not support it. They're still Orthodox Christian families that are doing this to their daughters. See, there's a history where they show, I think it's back in Pharaoh's times, it was not a regular thing. It was very rare. Actually, they did it as a kind of a, women did it electively to do it because they felt like some women have a clit that really sticks out. We have a some women have a huge nub, okay? And they feel it's ugly. Kind of like, imagine if you had an outy belly button, okay? Imagine having an overly outly looking clitoris. They would go and have it trimmed up because they didn't like the look of it. They felt it was unattractive. It was not a regular thing. It just started losing its little every once in a while deal, and it started becoming a little more acceptable in other cultures, including in Greece and everywhere else. But recorded history does show it in Pharaoh's times, but it wasn't prolific at all. It was very rare.
Well, I've always been told that the clit is like the under part of the front head of my dick. It's very sensitive. So that'd be like taking a razor blade to the bottom of my dick and cutting the fuck that. Who the hell does that?
Exactly.
God.
I mean, the clitoris and the head of the penis come from the same set of cells. Whenever a baby's developing, those same set of cells make both things. It just what your DNA, whether you're a boy or you're a girl, that's whenever it develops either into the clitoris or the penis. But here's a little did you know fact. The clitoris, in fact, isn't just that little piece that you can touch outside of your body. The clitoris...
Oh, I knew it was going here. We had to get graphic one way or another.
This is awesome, though. This is good stuff to know.
Continue.
The clitoris is actually a full organ that goes up inside of a woman, and whenever you get aroused, it becomes erect and can stand several inches long inside your body.
Ooh.
Did you know that, Adam?
Yeah, did you know?
I did not know that. I didn't know that it extended into the body, but I didn't know anything inside a female body got erect from it.
It does.
Oh yeah. It rigids up. I mean, it's literally like a cock, and it kind of branches off into like two little sections on the inside, like it branches evenly. It's symmetrical. Has little branches that kind of go off of it. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And to think that they tear that up, it's just, I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, yeah, if I'm not using clitoral stimulation during sex, I'll still enjoy it in certain positions. You know what it's like, Sharon. You know how it is. It feels really good, but sometimes you just want that hot button anyway. You just want that hot button to kind of finish the ride, and it's just like, I couldn't imagine not having my little button.
I can't imagine not having labia. I mean...
Yeah, that too. I mean, right?
That is crazy. But one reason that women don't speak out about it is, or they've begun to speak out about it, but one reason that they didn't is because they were so shamed by it.
Yeah.
And now it's not as it's not as taboo, it's not as shameful to speak out about it, because it's a terrible thing that happened to you that sometimes you had no control over because you were a little girl when it was done to you.
Yeah.
What is the name here? Syrian Ali, what's her name? Syrian Ali, I think is her name. She is a survivor of female genital mutilation, and she goes around the country now speaking about atheism and being a survivor of FGM, and she's pretty awesome. She's pretty good if you ever get a chance to hear her.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that her name? I can't remember her name.
I know it's Ali at the end. I know who you're talking about. I can see her. I've seen a couple of her presentations, but I never remember her first name completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do know, and she's one of several that go around now trying to educate, and they really focus on, people in their particular culture too, to get them to come forward, to speak out, to say no, to stand up for their rights in any country that they're in. Don't do this, don't let them do this to you. Just educating, and they're trying to educate the parents more too, to show them the long-term harm that they're causing.
Ooh, you know what? I'm just remembering a news article from BBC and I read not too long ago. It's about the airports in Ukraine that are combating genital mutilation and kidnappings with the signs out in the where you check in and all up the hallway that are at the adult level are one thing, but once you're like 3 feet tall or 3'6", the sign says something else.
Nice.
But I have to question the impact that signs have on people. I mean, for goodness sakes, we don't have signs that say "do not rape," and people are just out there raping away without those signs.
Well, yeah, they're about as useless as the gun-free zones. I agree. But
it's making people aware, though, and it's a topic.
Exactly.
I think that's a topic people are still learning about. This is a new curve that people are just getting onto in the last probably 5 or 6 years. I think it's really come to a head in the news. So I don't think it hurts to have that awareness out there to some level. Maybe it's hard to say. If a little kid, notices that her friend isn't right, they can, go and complain to somebody, hey, my friend's bleeding down there, and, now they know potentially why. Maybe that helps. It's hard to say.
It's hard to say, but I still think signs are too, I don't know, I think they're too passive because...
Yeah, they need to educate. They do just need to be in there educating.
Signs are okay, I guess, if you read them, but first of all, they have to be in a language that you speak, and secondly... They have to be something that you notice. And thirdly, you have to give a damn whenever you read it.
Yeah, so, yeah. I guess basically, I just ultimately, I think knowledge is power. So, education is key to that. And if you have the education, then you can question authority effectively. And I think that's the biggest thing that people are trying to get these kids to understand, and the parents too. But it's just something that I know they have campaigns where they have kids report to people, these kind of things if they think this is happening. I know UK has an education program going on in the schools about FGM, so that way they know if their friend might have been exposed to this or she's going overseas. Teenage girls are aware now, of what could potentially happen. But they also have had to break up how many cutting parties in the UK? A lot, a lot of cutting parties. They call them cutting parties. About 14 girls at a time in there,
Wow.
They've had raids where they've broken them up in time, but they end up sending the kids overseas and stuff.
God, man.
They'll eventually
as a human being, why is it okay just to say, let's go, it's time to cut my baby's genitals off?
Yeah.
Well, where does that come
it's a rite
from?
of passage at this point. It's like when you get your first period.
No,
and they're I'm not saying it's right.
Why do they circumcise boys? Within a year.
I don't agree with that either, though. To me,
I understand that.
I have to say, when my son was born, I didn't know any better. Yeah. I thought, according to my mom, that's what you were supposed to do, and I was young. I was only 22, and I didn't know any better. I hadn't read anything, so a lot of it is ignorance. And and
the way the laws are set up in the U.S. too, Sharon, you could have said no.
I could have said no, but I didn't know. Dad could have turned right
around and taken your son into the chopping block anyway. One parent consent is all you need in this country to mutilate your child. One parent consent.
Well, his dad wouldn't have cared. His dad's a douche anyway, so...
It'd be nice.
It's all my fault.
All right. Well, let's move on, folks. We got a bunch more cool stuff to talk about tonight. Hopefully not too depressing. Well, it's going to be kind of blue. We got more to talk about. That's depressing, but...
God damn! I got a new bottle of rum. I'm going to try.
Yeah, you better break that bitch open. You're going to.
Yeah, I'm going to. So y'all sit tight, folks. It's fixing to be a long ride.
This month of April on UTBB podcast, it is sci-fi. Star Trek, Star Wars,
War of the World, Firefly, Doctor Who, Total Recall, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Lost in Space, The Walking Dead, Minority Report,
Logan's Run, Metropolis, Mad Motherfucking Max, Riddick, Underworld, Farscape, Aeon Flux, Fifth Element, Giant Mnemonic, The Terminator, Lost in Space, X-1, Babylon 5, Stargate, Eve, Gemini Wars.
Can you smell what the Schwartz is cooking? versus religious bullshit. The earth is flooded in 40 days.
Walking on water, raising the dead, unicorns, dragons, talking asses, oh my, bread from the sky, party in ocean, frogs falling from the sky, move the sun back 10 degrees, flat earth, moon produces light, unmoving stars, getting water from a rock, haunted vaginas, conquering a fortress with shitty horns.
Oh, and ostriches are asshole parents.
Unacceptable!
Who does fantasy best, Jesus or Doctor Who, and which one is more believable? So stay tuned for the epic discussions begin this April. And through April 28th, patrons who donate $5 or more to our podcast will get a personalized postcard of one of our co-hosts cosplaying in their favorite sci-fi character. Don't miss out and contribute today at www.patreon.com/UTBB podcast.
Well, I think Georgia is a great big pussy because they don't have any hate laws, and they're only one of 5 states that don't. What are the other states? There's South Carolina and
Wyoming, Arkansas, and Indiana, my next door neighbor. And I am not fucking surprised. I mean, just look what Governor Pence passed on the whole abortion deal.
Well, Governor Nathan Deal's not doing too much better. He's expected to pass a RFRA type law that would mean that people who own restaurants can say no to serving somebody who they think is just too fabulous.
Oh, they're legalizing Jim Crow again. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
No problem. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so stupid. Oh,
it is
it's
so
ignorant.
stupid.
It's so ignorant.
And the reason that this is even an issue is because this guy who didn't like anybody being gay had a girlfriend. And in his girlfriend's house, she had a son, and her son was gay, and her son was laying in the bed with his boyfriend, and the older guy didn't like it, so he went and boiled a big pot of water and went in the bedroom and threw it on the 2 sleeping guys and told them how disgusting they were, and these guys ended up having to get skin grafts. I mean, it really messed them up. They were in such pain they couldn't sleep.
Oh, I know one guy, I mean, he got it like almost his entire back, and it like dripped around to the front where his neck, and I mean, he has no skin. It's just gone, you know. It's horrible what this man did. It was just terrible. I mean, these injuries are life-threatening, even if they go to the hospital, because infection's so much higher, and the pain you go through to heal from this stuff is just excruciating.
And sometimes the pain never goes away from severe burns.
No, it doesn't.
So, I mean, they can be affected. They will be affected for the rest of their lives for this. And they were sleeping. It wasn't even like they were, playing footsies under the table. They were just asleep together, and the guy took it upon himself to throw boiling water on them. How hateful can you be? And Georgia's not going to do anything about it but prosecute him for, I think, assault.
Yeah.
I think
wow.
that's what he's getting.
I mean, you throw a boiling pot of water on somebody.
That should be attempted murder.
I was fixing to say, Kate, that should be attempted murder.
Yeah, that's attempted murder. They're going easy on this guy. They should be. I mean, I know that the prosecutor's office wants to go for what they know they can get, but this is attempted murder. This really was.
Could this not also be considered a hate crime at the federal level or not?
Probably not.
No, because he didn't break any federal laws. He just broke
state
laws.
It's not
by
a federal
assaulting
law.
them.
Yeah, I think there's something on the board in Tennessee about increasing the able to discriminate against the LGBT community here in Tennessee based on religious rights as well.
Yeah, well, it's messed up, too. I mean, did you read what the mom had said in response to this? Now, mind you, everybody, she doesn't support what this boyfriend did. She is immediately like, get the fuck out, and she's speaking against him and wants him prosecuted. But she said he's not human, okay? And then he goes, he's got hatred in his heart, and God's going to deal with him. That pissed me off.
Well, the state's not going to deal with him because I looked it up, and they're not even charging him with aggravated assault. They're charging him with aggravated battery.
She's already happy with the idea that this guy's going to get his in the afterlife. It just kind of pissed me off. It was just
but then again, as long as he gets on his knees and accepts Jesus as his loving Savior, they're going to forgive him. He's going to get right in the doorway of heaven.
I know.
There's only
No.
really one crime that you can get away with that they won't let you into the gateway of heaven.
Yeah, and I've already committed that.
Yep, same here.
It ain't real.
It ain't real.
No Holy Spirit. No,
Yep,
no.
your bullshit is bullshit.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the guy, he didn't say this, but he could have used the defense that he was doing God's work because the Bible doesn't support the gay lifestyle.
I'm sure he's mentioned that in offhand somewhere else. It's just
Absolutely.
He just didn't want it in the house. And what's horrible is it's not even his home. You know, girlfriend's home, and he's throwing the boys out. You know, it's just, it's disgusting. And it's this kind of extremism, you know, that we see in this country. We also see this, you know, we're talking about FGM in the previous segment. And then we see, you know, people go to these extremes for their beliefs. And I mean, look what's happened, Brussels, and we got Ankara, we got Nigeria, today was Pakistan. We got all this extreme going on where they're like killing scores of people at a time, just killing themselves in the name of an ideology, you know.
And a special shout out to these fuckers if by chance one of these assholes happens to run across this podcast. A very special fuck you from Adam Fusen. I'm telling you what, you can kiss my lily white ass. Y'all suck.
Add my name on that fuck you.
Yeah, I don't have time for extremists or terrorists. I'm sorry you aren't getting what you want when you want it in the way you want it, but that's not how reality works.
Amen.
Frankly, if your God's so fucking awesome, why in the hell does he need you to defend him? He had to fucking make you? Come on. I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah, excuse me, I said amen. I meant raw man.
No, you're fine. You got these assholes that throw kids out on the street because they think they're witches. They cut people up. They blow people up. All because they want theirs right now. And it's like, there's no easy way out. And everybody wants this escapist plan to, like, feel better about the world they live in. It's just...
And the sad thing is that I don't know anything about the men who are, or women, it could be women, who are blowing these places up. I don't know anything about their age, where they come from, but my guess would be that they're young, you know, they're young,
angry people who don't have much of an opportunity at anything else.
No, that wasn't what I'm saying. They're jammed up about their belief. They're so psyched about what they believe in.
Yeah. That
they go out and they don't know any better than to do this. They've been brought up in a world of war. We talked about this before the show. Their whole world, their whole life has been war, and they live in a country where this is the norm, and they think they're doing the right thing. I'm not supporting them by any means. God, no. I'm just saying...
Trying to wrap your head around what the hell is going wrong in that brain. You know.
Well, again, you have people in the UK and the US who have an opportunity to go to school and advance themselves and build a family and not go to war. But for some reason, you find a good percentage of people, you know, it's more in Europe, less in the US, but they exploit the one or two people who've gone and to that extreme. That basically said, I don't want that life. I need to make it over to Turkey and into Syria and help fight people, and then eventually go back into Europe and blow people up. So it is much more than, you know, just that type of mentality. It is the theology behind it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I was telling you, the foot soldiers, they are totally just programmed. It's the promise of this ideology, and deep down it's a dissatisfaction with something else. We already know religion is a way to help fill in the gaps in your understanding and your satisfactions in life, that rationalization of why you don't have what you want now. That's what ideology does. But you know what? You know these generals that run this shit do not buy it for one single fucking minute. Or those assholes will be out there on the field. They'd be the first ones blowing up next to their troops.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And these kids don't look at that. They don't see it. They buy the whole, well, I'm a leader, I'm a prophet for whoever, and it just kills me. They don't expect better for themselves, you know.
Well, they don't
know.
Been brought up to know anything other than the life that they are not going to get to live. I mean, they don't have schools that we have. They don't have the opportunities that...
And that's the majority of them that are there with ISIS and ex-Al-Qaeda and Al-Qaeda or Taliban that's out there now. That's just all they know. but at the same time, there's this ideology that, they go to what little school they do have, they go there and they learn how to shoot handguns and how grenades work while reading the Quran all day. Same application for others isn't the same. They just see this ideology and they decided to say, ooh, I want to pack up being able to make $100,000 a year and I'm going to go blow shit up over on the other side of the world.
And then you also have the fact that some don't want that lifestyle extreme. They still want their identity that they've been programmed with,
Right.
like we see with evangelicals here. And then they go to places like Brussels, or they go to Paris, they go to Germany, and they have to integrate. And I don't think, one, that they have enough time to integrate, and at the same time, there's some who are not going to integrate.
Right.
My question is, what happens when you deal with ones who don't want to integrate? Is it fair to say, fine, get the fuck out? I don't think it's fair if you're in Germany where it's okay in certain areas to walk bare-breasted, to then have, maybe, some Muslims in the area or Christians in the area go, oh, we find this offensive. And then the government's like, okay, that's not legal anymore, cover up.
Right.
Why can't we just say, don't fucking look? You don't want an abortion, don't have a goddamn abortion. If you don't want to have non-halal meat, you better find a place where you can get your halal meat then.
Right.
We have certain laws. I don't think it's fair to tell them they have to take off their burqas. If they want to wear their burqa, fine. That's their choice. I think the burqa thing's going a little too far with demanding. Now, at the same hand, I think it's bullshit that they're like, well, people shouldn't be dressing so revealingly in our neighborhoods. I'm sorry, it's a country. It's not your neighborhood.
Yeah, well,
it's a country. And I get that when there's this question of integration, and there's a lot who refuse to integrate and think that they're going to have the area molded to fit their desires. And it's like, you can't have that either. That's not even remotely fair. But at the same time, I don't want to see them have to completely give up all of their identity, because that's not realistic or fair either, I don't think. But there are certain standards that should have to be met. It's certain food laws, you have to meet these food laws. You cannot have halal meat. We have legislation on this. This is a prerequisite when you come into this country, I think that's fair. We're not saying you can't have your Saturday prayers. Do I think they should make an exception at work so they can go have their 10 minutes to pray? Yeah, why not? Everyone else is going to get it. Why can't they? For prayer. Okay. But should they be able to shut down a whole plant for a day? No, of course not. The integration is a big, big problem, I think. And I don't think they really have a good solution for it. I think people that are fleeing to Germany and to Brussels and Paris and even Canada, I don't think that they're fleeing there thinking of it as permanency. I think they want to be able to go back to what they had, their homeland. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's why they don't want to integrate, because they don't see this as long-term. They want it to be a short-term and they can get things fixed with their government and go back. I don't know. It's just something that I don't think people are asking that question. And maybe they're afraid to answer it honestly, because then they might not get the help that they want. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to step on the other side and say, pretty much with, the government goes as far as religion and whatnot, it shouldn't be allowed there. Now, you own and run a business, you want people to pray there, you don't mind praying, that's your business. If you ask me to step in and do prayer with you, kiss my ass.
Exactly.
I ain't praying with you.
I completely agree. I completely agree with that. I mean, I love Title 7 of the 1964, Civil Rights Act, because it's fair. It protects everybody involved with that.
Now, I'm not going to sit there and chew and pop gum or anything or be disrespectful. I will be quiet. I will treat it as though a moment of silence. And a moment of silence is pretty much what they all have in most of the schools these days. Yeah. Kids sit there and pray to or believe what they want. They pay respect in themselves. It's a moment of silence, and that's what it is. But for a business to say, oh, I've got to add a 10-minute break here so that these guys can pull out their prayer mats and whatnot. I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem with that.
To pray. That's the problem. There's a particular time of day they're required to pray.
They can pray before they get there. That's fine.
Well,
I don't care.
That's not in with their tradition, though, in a way. And here's my point. Like, where I work at now, it's a warehouse. I have a lot of drivers that are from Morocco, from Nigeria,
right?
Zaire. They have 10 minutes during a particular time of day I've literally gone in back in that warehouse, and they've got their forklifts pulled over. They've got a piece of cardboard on the floor, their prayer rug on it, and they're doing their prayer. I mean, on a piece of cardboard, because they're not demanding a special space. They're just like, give us 10 minutes, 10 minutes.
I don't mind that, but as long as they don't, as long as the whole damn operation doesn't come to a stall, or the company's trying to meet their needs against everybody else, I have a problem with that.
Because if a demand is going to cause a significant burden on the employer doesn't have to acquiesce, and that's fair. That's more than fair.
Well, I think as long as if they get 10 minutes to pray and I want 10 minutes to smoke a cigarette.
There you go. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you, Sharon.
And they do get that. That's what I mean. It's not like...
Religious rights have more damn rights than smokers these days.
The smokers have more rights than non-smokers. I'm just saying.
Oh.
I'm one of those non-smokers. I don't get my 10 minutes.
I'm a non-smoker, but I'm just saying, if I want a 10-minute smoke break and you get 10 minutes to pray, as long as it's equitable, I don't have a problem with it.
Exactly. And I mean, they could arrange it where if they already normally have a 10 or 15-minute break, they can make it for that time of day anyway. Problem solved. Oh, well, you got a 10, 15-minute break included with your day? I guess that's when you're going to be taking it. No problem. It's not rocket science. It's like here in the States, we have certain things. And I just think there's nothing wrong with accepting certain levels of religious identity. But at the same time, they can't be stalling out and be going, we absolutely have to have all of this. That's not fair either. And it's something that they act like then you're persecuting them if you're like, listen, it's these rules or it's the highway. But our rules have to be reasonable, too. You know what I'm saying? If you say no burqas, you're not allowed to completely cover up your body. That's kind of really getting a little too personal into somebody's rights, I think. Are we making nuns take off their habits at the airport?
I don't know. I mean... I don't know. I think we should. I don't know that. I know we're not, but I think we should because those burqas hide a lot. And those habits hide a lot.
Yeah, I'm serious. If you want to wear your burqa, that's fine. But the minute you come into a store that has security cameras and they're there for that reason, banks, shopping places, they need your identification. You can't just be walking around in a fucking bed sheet. I'm sorry.
It's not safe for everybody else.
No, that's exactly right.
That's making the assumption then that there's ill intent with what they're wearing.
But
people wear masks in the winter.
But the Mexicans wear face masks because they tell them that it's part of their religion because they respect that the death god that they love. Mm-hmm. I've seen stories on that where they're like heavily Catholic, but they've got their god of death.
Yeah, it's Angelitos Muertos.
Yes. Thank you.
Who they are.
Yeah.
They are.
And part of their religion is covering their face in certain times. But you got to be able to be identified if you're going to go do business.
And I think there's a fine line to completely taking away a person's ingrained identity. And I just think there's got to be a happy medium there. And I think there is a right to demand a certain level of integration has to be met. And if you're not going to meet that, you're going to have to leave. I think that's fair.
Yeah, you want to cover your head, that's fine. But you got to show your face in America. I'm sorry, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's you have to show your face in America. I think it's an issue of safety. I mean, I know at my kids' school, they don't allow, kids to come in with full floor-length jackets and not submit to, let me see what you got under there. Mm-hmm. I think it's the same with
I just think
burqas.
It's sad we're at that level of suspicion of everybody.
Well, I think it's sad we are at that level of suspicion, but if we just assumed, there's nothing under there, then we're being naive based on what's happened in the past. I mean...
I just know that in America right now, you're more likely to have a guy with a gun in his suit than you will a woman with dynamite under her burqa. Way more likely.
Hey, this could be a really, really interesting social experiment. Let's put Joe, when he feels better, let's make him wear a burqa and nothing else, like completely naked, and we'll send him to the Nashville airport with a duffel bag. And I'll pull right up and drop him off at the front doors, and he'll walk straight in. Let's put some video cameras out there. Let's watch what happens.
You need to have it be a chick. It needs to be a chick that does it.
Yeah, I mean, he's used to wearing a kilt anyway.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's a huge dialogue with so many multifacets of issues, because, if we say, well, screw them all, don't let them in a mall, then we're creating a further problem with, integration, let alone just trying to get along and be compassionate. We can be compassionate and not demand friendship. I think people kind of forget that sometimes.
Hey, I'm all about refugees coming over here. I mean, I know the majorities around here are not. That are scared to death. That one or two might be a radicalist, but that's illogical considering the amount of time that the process that they go through, and the fact that they've been sitting there for 2 years trying just to get some type of asylum. And once they seek asylum, they don't know where the hell they're going. They could be going to the UK. They could be going to Japan, and they end up going to the US. And they integrate there. But the second you get off that plane in integration and we give you a house and some money and want to start naturalizing you, the burqa's got to come off, bitch. I'm sorry.
No, I think I don't have a problem with
that. I won't agree with that.
I can't. I don't have a problem with the hijab or a niqab, but I have a problem with the burqa because to me it's a little scarier. If you want to cover your head, I have no problem with that.
But that means that you're saying that.
Okay. I'm talking about the full burqa.
You're making people surrender. You're making people surrender full sovereignty of their body when you do that. You're demanding the right.
No, their face is not their whole body. I'm not asking for them to walk around with their tits out.
That's still their personal self. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Okay, you're saying you owe me the right to see your face, whether you want to show me your face or not.
But you're making the assumption that the women have made the choice to wear these burqas. What if they don't choose, that they're socially constrained to do so?
A lot of them have.
Wait a minute, Kate. Are you in? All right, wait a minute. Hold on. I think I may have just had a little epiphany here. So, so basically, Kate, what you're saying is that being modest is one thing, and breasts to Americans are one thing. Showing your vag off is one thing. People get offended by the booty shorts. But you're actually saying that there's women out there that are scared to show their face because it's kind of their sexual part of their body to us?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't get that till now.
A view of their face, their actual person, who they are. They treasure that so much. It's just like the way some women will hide their hair. Like there's certain Orthodox Jews, the women wear wigs. You will not see their real hair. You're looking at a fucking wig. Because you're not allowed to see their real face.
So basically, they think their face is some type of a vagina in a way.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, after watching the original Hairspray, I'm a little wary of wigs too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's not just burqas; it's wigs. I am a.
It's like the whole Easter Bunny effect,
Well, I'm sorry, and now that I understand that's upsetting.
This is where I'm coming from.
But I understand that. I understand that now. But at the same time, bitch, you still got to integrate. That's just your face.
Oh,
Put some makeup on that. You can cover that shit up. You may have a big wart over there, the 3-4 warts. You can cover that shit up. We'll get you all down to Macy's and cover that shit up.
You have to understand that some women like a lot of different cultures with women's hair. There's a lot of cultures with women's hair, even with like the primitive Pentecostals,
Yeah.
It's just that they have their ankles covered. They've got their wrists covered. Some of them hide their hair. It's a sexual thing.
It's not hiding. It's not cutting it. Because I grew up primitive Pentecostal, and you didn't have to hide your hair. You just couldn't cut it.
Well, ours we had where you did
Muslim. I don't care. We'll get you some good credit starting right out the gate like you're 18 years old. We'll send you down to Opry Mills, and the next thing you know, you'll have your own show on 16 and Pregnant on MTV.
You got to convince their husbands or potential husbands that it's okay as well, because they view their face being exposed as exposing intimacy as well. See, it's a cultural identity thing that you've got to slowly change. And just to say, okay, you've been this way for 30 years. You've been programmed to believe you're going to go to hell and be punished and be this because you've done... Okay, as of right now, forget all that. It's bullshit. Now, come on. How easily do you think anybody who's been programmed would buy that?
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
However...
I guess I've been programmed to think completely opposite of what you're saying, Kate.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm not saying it's right. I'm just...
Well, I'm American. I love seeing my girl walk down Broadway in her goddamn leather pants on, her booty shorts on.
Yeah. I'm just saying,
They're hot.
in cultures, it's a very intimate thing to even reveal your face. And they legitimately believe
agree.
that. They believe that. That's just where I'm coming from. I'm not saying it's right, but there's a lot of things in our own culture that we think's right that, a lot of other places probably wouldn't agree with. But
wearing makeup.
all kinds of crazy stuff that we do. And
I go out without makeup, Adam. How does that make you feel?
I don't mind that a bit.
and she's ready to get out the door quicker.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just where I'm coming from. I just think it's a really difficult subject. There's no quick solution like Trump and Cruz and all of them tried to come up with. And it's just one of those things. I wish there'd be a way we could restore some sense of order to their part of the world. That way they can just go back to what they want. Because it's like when we went into Iraq, they were not ready for our kind of democracy. They still don't comprehend it. A lot of them kind of wish Saddam Hussein was back because they're not ready for this level of freedom because they've been programmed for how many thousands of years to have a sovereign leader, that controls everything. And they just don't know how to deal with it. And you find them still kind of going back towards wanting a one person in control scenario.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a nation and several others that their biggest level of automation and manufacturing is shooting an AK-47.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the comprehension yet for this level of personal autonomy. They just don't have that even hardwired in their brain at all. It's just not even a concept they can grasp. And then we're sitting there getting pissed off because why are they trying to take a step backwards? It's like anybody who's been in an abusive relationship or something that's not healthy. You don't even fucking know it's not healthy. And you want to go back to the way it was, kind of, because at least you kind of know what to do.
Right.
And it'll be easier. There'll be less struggle because we already know what we got to do. We already know how to make this work. And let's just go back to this way and we just won't have as much of an asshole this time around, And people are like, oh my God, all the people that died to get them their freedom. And it's like, I'm not saying it's right. People are going to probably jump my ship for this. I'm just saying, just look at it from that point of view for a minute to kind of understand what the fuck's wrong in their brain. And you got to admit to yourself, okay, it's going to take generations before they're ready to move forward into the level of autonomy that we've got personally, freedom-wise.
Right.
They just don't have a concept for this shit. And that's something when we bring them into an even more liberal, progressive nations like Sweden and Canada and Germany. Fuck America. I mean, we're still behind the curve on that shit. They could bring these folks into an even more ultra-free place. Oh my God. They don't have time. They need generations to catch up with that curve. And they don't have that amount of time. And so it's on one side, we've got the standard that they need to meet. And I agree, they've got to meet the standard. But at the same time, they don't have the time to do it in. And it's frustrating because I feel like it's a lose situation all the way around. It really is.
Would it not help if we just sent Kim Kardashian back to the Middle East?
Oh, come on. She wasn't even born there. It's like
She would know what to do.
It's like when people go, oh, you're supposed to call black people African American. It's so rude. That's not actually true. I know I have a lot of black friends, and they're like, I don't know why you call me African American because my family hasn't been in Africa for at least 200 years. We are not African. It's just one of those things.
American. They're just different skin color. They're black. That's all there is to it. They're black.
Black Americans.
Yeah.
They're just black people.
I know, but that's the thing. You get into all of that, and like people say, "Oh, well," it's like these students they had at a Trump rally. They yelled them to go back to Mexico because they looked Mexican, and it's just like we're American. Or that lady that was going off on the side of the road, she was yelling at these guys because they were taking a picture of themselves in front of an airport landing field, and she was saying all these racist, horrible things. These guys were from fucking Central America, and she's calling them jihadists and shit just because of how they looked.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Like, go back to your sandbox. Wow, I'm like, you ignorant bitch. They're born in America. They came to America. They're from Central America. Oh my God, this stupid. It just fucking
I saw a
burns.
political poster today that just took the cake. It made me happy. It was, I don't know if anybody watches Futurama, but me.
Oh, yeah.
Futurama.
Okay, it was a
cry.
political poster. It said, "Kill all humans." Bender 2016.
Yes. Bender 2016.
Yep. He would too.
Yeah.
He totally would. He's such an asshole. Yeah, that last episode made me cry. I did cry when I watched the last episode of Futurama. The really, really last episode. It will make you cry. It's so sweet. You're just like, oh my God. I cried. Which is really sad. But, yeah, like we were saying, though, this, discrimination in Georgia and all this extreme behavior, and then you see what's going on in Brussels and Germany and Kara and Turkey. And people are like, oh, why is anybody talking about Turkey? And it's like when you saw what happened. You saw the French flag drawn holding the Belgian flag. Did you all see that meme?
No, I haven't seen that meme.
Yeah, well, then the bombings in Ankara had happened prior to that, right, in Turkey. And it shows the Turkish flag. Someone else took the original meme, and it has the Turkish flag kind of like a person, and it's just kind of holding the hand of Belgium. But at the same time, it's like, what about us, Like they're all left out in the cold. It's getting so political. It's unreal. And
and the Republicans were fussing about Obama doing tangoing in South America.
Oh, Obama, don't you cry. I had to do it too.
Hey, I'm telling you what, that chick he was dancing with down there was pretty hot.
Who, Joe?
No, Obama.
The president.
Oh.
He was in South America doing the tango while the bombings, after the bombings went off and Republicans lost their damn head. He was down there in Argentina after he went to see Cuba after his Cuban visit.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the stink at the Cuban visit. You saw how they were making a big fuss because he was in front of that image of Che.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, really? I think I remember Reagan was like underneath Lenin or some shit, or Stalin. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's just the double standards ridiculous, and things have to go on.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't stop and turn the plane around just because of the terrorists struck again. You've got to continue on with schedule and doing what you're doing, and continue with your plan to hack away at whatever the hell your plan is. You don't give in and change your damn schedule no matter what.
Well, they're politicizing is all they're trying to do.
No, I know.
That it's not going to work. It's an electric season. It's one of those things. I mean, I don't recall George W. Bush immediately putting the book down in front of those little kids.
Well, I don't know if y'all saw the pictures of Obama dancing with a tango dancer down there.
I did.
She was hot and had a total freedom boner. I had the biggest heart on over that. That was hot. I wanted to see the president fuck that girl right there.
Oh,
that sounds like some.
I mean, you think Kim Kardashian really got famous? Obama could retire right after that one video.
You that sounds like a project for you, Adam. A YouPorn project for you.
Oh, maybe I should introduce that to like Pornhub or something.
Oh, speaking of porn, y'all, I know this is off topic now, but...
oh, really?
Y'all heard about the $20 donation we received from a wonderful woman. I'll give the initials of J.I.
Oh, I did not.
$20 because she heard me joking about eating Cadbury eggs in a sexy way.
Oh!
I think you got to let that cream run down your boobies and...
Oh.
No, I bought 3 eggs.
I second that motion.
Well, hey, Joe's got to do it too, though.
Oh, I don't want to see that at all.
He can let it run down his boobies,
We
too.
have to do 2 photos each, so I'll probably have a promo info after this segment for people. We'll have some paid-for content on Patreon. So if you want to see what J.I. paid for, y'all can contribute. But, yeah, that's my little off-the-rails discussion.
Oh, we are pimping ourselves out with Cadbury cream eggs.
And I got the white, I got the caramel, and I got the chocolate egg.
Oh, you even got an extra egg. You're supposed to only do 2, right?
I know I'm going to mess up one, probably. The first one will be my mistake one, and then the other 2 should come out perfect.
Start with the chocolate egg, because I can... Yeah, practice with the chocolate egg, because brown semen is just a...
Oh! Whoa! God! This is where Joe would jump in with something extremely wrong.
No, and I was just thinking I was going to practice sucking the juice out, and I don't want to do that with the chocolate one then, because that's just... I don't know.
This episode is brought to you by Cadbury.
Yeah.
And brown semen.
Ew.
Oh, God.
I don't think I ever want to see brown semen. That can't be good.
Yeah, you might want to see a doctor if you got brown semen.
Yeah. Be like that guy in The Usual Suspects, and he pees so hard it's
Wait
like
a minute, you mean black people don't have brown semen?
You know they don't, you smartass.
Oh my God! Black and brown cows have white semen. For fuck's sake! Oh my
Everything has
God!
white semen. Everything's white.
I can't quit laughing.
They're so bad.
Oh,
Okay, that's enough of this shit. Let's move on to a real piece of shit. We're done talking about semens. We'll talk about cunts next. Stay with us, everybody.
more from Cadbury eggs after this.
I am Jim Helton, president of the Tri-State Freethinkers and regional director for American Atheists here in Kentucky. Answers in Genesis is spending $150 million to build a replica of Noah's Ark called the Ark Encounter in Williamstown, Kentucky. We at the Tri-State Freethinkers will defend their right to build such a park. However, we find this story immoral that's in the Bible and highly inappropriate for children. In addition to, the state government is giving them millions of dollars of tax incentives while allowing them to have discriminatory hiring practices. Answers in Genesis is planning a launch of this theme park based on genocide and incest July 7th. We at the Tri-State Freethinkers need your help. We want to raise enough money to put up billboards all over the area to let people be aware of how horrible this story in the Bible actually is. The more money we get, the more billboards we can put up in all different areas. In addition to, we want to do a counter-protest on their opening day and throw a huge party and invite all the freethinkers and atheists to come all over to show support for reason and logic and not superstition and myths. And with a special donation, we will take all donations, and any support is appreciated, but with a special donation of $500, you can join myself, along with other famous atheists and freethinkers, including David Silverman, president of American Atheists, and be drowning in the ocean looking up to the Ark. And what an honor that will be. We appreciate all your support, and remember, all donations are tax deductible.
Okay, so I told you we were going to move away from semen and move on to cunts. I wasn't kidding.
Damn it!
Our favorite Xenia warrior princess of Christianity is in the news again, Sharon. Jayda Fransen.
You knew she would be sooner or later.
Yeah, she's been arrested.
Yay!
Oh, this bitch is interesting.
I know, that's why I had to interview her. She's like a whole package of crazy, and I love crazy.
Watching the video
Oh,
of her
gosh.
being arrested? Have you watched that video,
Yeah.
Adam?
No, not at all. What did she get arrested for?
Well, this is the fun part. So, for those of you who didn't follow our show, maybe 6 or 7 episodes ago, Britain First, conservative ultra-right-wing group, they actually have some power in government over there in the UK now, and they also have street activism. So imagine Christian people walking through the streets. They have on uniform-looking outfits, same color, tight skull cap style hats with badges on the front, little lapel pins, and they're carrying these big vampire hunting crosses as they walk through Muslim neighborhoods. In this one area they went into was called Luton, and they really riled shit up with the Muslims in that area because it's a predominantly Muslim neighborhood. They're walking.
Wait a minute. Go back to the vampire part. What was that again?
They have these big ass 5-foot crosses they carry.
Oh my God.
Going through these neighborhoods. And she's like, well, you saw the video. We weren't saying anything and they attacked us first. And I'm like, well, that's not exactly true. Because when I see it, they are handing out propaganda pamphlets about why Islam's wrong and they're going to go to hell and all this other shit. And they've got these big ass motherfucking crosses and they know that it's, you know what I'm saying. Imagine.
Were they wearing white sheets and having a southern accent?
No.
Might as well have been.
They might as well have a southern version of a British accent. But they're in these uniforms and shit. So they cause a uproar in that area with their behavior. They end up getting in shouting matches, had people spitting at them. They were spitting at them, throwing garbage at each other. Oh, this is a Christian country. If you don't like it, get out. They're saying shit like this. And of course the Muslims are coming back of, we're taking over. And if you're going to fucking fire back with fire, if people are going to say shit like that.
It was completely natural the way they reacted.
To me, it's like they have a right to respond. To say they didn't is ridiculous. And people weren't aggressively mean at first. Jade and them do escalate it. They purposely go in looking for drama. And there was even a point, they drove down a street the wrong direction and then tried to say that they did nothing wrong. They were just driving around peacefully in the streets of their London and England, but it's like you're going on a wrong way street. Of course you're going to cause a problem doing that shit. People are going to come out and try to point out you're driving the wrong way. And they were causing fights. So needless to say, that whole bunch of shit went down. Police got involved. And eventually, the cops arrested them. They found a way to deal with these riot inciters, because that's essentially what Britain First does. They incite riots. They incite fights. They incite arguments and distress and disturbance civilly. And not in a peaceful way, obviously. Walking around with these big-ass crosses and shit.
Now, I want to make sure, again, that we're talking about the UK and not a Donald Trump rally.
No, this is the UK.
Gotcha.
This is the UK. And this is Jayda, like, for folks that don't know, she's like one of the deputy leaders of Britain's First.
Sarah Palin?
Sarah Palin wishes. Jayda Fransen. Jayda Fransen at least does put her money where her mouth is, okay? She's out there in the street getting nose to nose with people. Do you see Sarah Palin or Ann Coulter doing that shit? No.
Sarah Palin is like word salad with legs. At least Jayda Fransen is coherent and articulate. Yeah,
she is articulate, even though she has a very padded way of thinking.
I've seen a few stories about her, but I have not gone in to really pay attention to her.
Oh yeah, you should check her out. She is like all kinds of batshit. She is fucking.
So she's kind of a little bit more Ann Coulter.
Yeah, she's more than Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter, do you ever see her leave a chair and actually walk around and argue with people?
Well, no. If she left the chair, then the camera couldn't focus on anything because she looks like a stick.
Yeah, that's my point. That Jada's like completely opposite. She's what these women pretend to be.
Jada has some
Zena,
boobies.
the other two are Gabrielle. Okay,
whoa.
Let's just
Did you say boobs?
Yeah, she has some nice stuff.
Oh, I got to research this chick.
Yeah, she used to be part of the another street activist group, and she was part of the recruitment league. Well, anyway, the government figured out a way to deal with this bullshit. They came up and they arrested them for wearing political uniforms. And it's based off of an act that was put out in 1936. It was the Public Order Act 1936 is what it was called. And it was passed to control far-right political movements. Like, the British Union of Fascists. They were known as the Black Shirts. I don't know if anybody remembers British history, but these guys were douchebags. And they would go around in these black outfits all across the streets during certain neighborhoods trying to patrol things, They basically also used this against the IRA back in the 70s as well, to try and stop them from wearing the berets and be intimidating in public. Because that's what Britain First does. They go, oh, we're not wearing police uniforms. They fucking look intimidating if you look at these people. If you see a group of 15 people walking through your neighborhood, and they've got badges on their lapels, they're wearing, wool, obvious security-looking outfits, and skull cap hats that have got badges on those. That's intimidating as fuck, okay? So the government's like, okay, we're going to use this. And so they got them on something like this. And this isn't the first time, but this will be a repeat offense for one of the people that's in Jada's crew. So they're waiting to see what happens. But essentially, they're like, okay, until May 30th, you are not allowed back in Luton. You are not allowed to be wearing these outfits. They're going to be fined, and they have to go sit in front of the court. And, of course, France and all of them were like, oh, we're being harassed. They confiscated our lapel badges and all this stuff, and they're going to challenge the bail conditions in court because they think it's bullshit. But, yeah, they have to be at the police station every fucking Saturday. Like, right now, they're basically on probation, and they haven't been to court yet.
Kind of sounds like some local organizations we have around here.
Yeah.
Oath Keepers.
Yeah.
Some of the militias that are going on out in the Northwest, heck, in Tennessee, probably, at the borders.
Well, the thing with Jayda, though, she tries to oversimplify what the police have done, because she's in complete denial about their intimidation tactics, which is not unusual for a conservative or any extreme party, whether it's right or left. You have things where she's like, well, if they're taking away our lapel pins, why aren't they going after the Conservative Party people that wear their lapel pins? She's like trying to ignore the fact that they are obviously political outfits, being assholes on the street, purposely inciting violence. Just because you're out wearing a Vote Labor t-shirt, if you're not out in the street causing problems, and I don't mean causing problems like you protesting somewhere. You can protest all you want, but when you're going through and trying to incite violence and reaction from the general public, that's a problem. That's a threat to safety and security of everybody involved. And so the police are like, okay, you got to start checking in with us every Saturday until May 30th. And on top of all this is what's really funny. The local police chief on the air to live TV said, we will not prosecute anybody else that was involved with what happened in Luton that previous Saturday. He basically acknowledged that everything was fine until Britain first came in here and purposely ramped shit up. So the only people accountable for the bullshit is the cunt walking around in a green suit.
But at the same time, the only cause for arresting somebody at this point is because of them wearing a symbol or an outfit, which is in itself a symbol.
Yeah.
Correct?
Kind of. But because of their movement, they are a political party. They are wearing political uniforms. They're using it for intimidation. They have so many other occasions of this, it's not even funny. They go to that Muslim hate preacher's house, Chudre's house over there. They'll go to his house and fucking walk in if the door's not locked. And harass the man on the spot. They'll walk into his residence. I don't like the guy. I think he's a piece of shit, absolutely. But they'll just fucking walk unannounced into his residence and start harassing the fuck out of him. In their uniforms.
That's one reason I appreciate America.
They're like the fucking brown shirts in Nazi Germany. I mean, they're not any better. So the police are trying to figure out a way to try and curb this to calm shit down. And this is what they came up with for now. You can't wear this shit. Give us your lapel pins. You can talk to the court about, will it hold up in a court of law? They'll probably get fined, because she said they've been fined before for it. And then the maximum is like $100, 100 pounds is the maximum fine. So she doesn't give a flying fuck anyway. So I think the police are just doing this to kind of buy time to let tensions calm down and keep them out of the neighborhood. Because they're basically protecting Jayda's stupid ass, which, I mean, they purposely want to get hurt. She's even said she's a martyr, pretty much. She denied being Joan of Arc, but I brought it up because she's like, I do think she's got a Joan of Arc complex. I really think she sees herself that way.
So she faces herself as kind of a Christian martyr, so to say?
Yeah. She counts on dying for her cause.
Yeah, most of them do.
Blank. She counts on dying for this cause. And the only way she's going to die is she keeps going into places. It's not like she's going in trying to have a friendly conversation. They're going in to be confrontational. It's like that Church of Wells I highlighted a while back. And they go into certain bad areas on purpose, and they let people beat the shit out of them so then they can show it to the masses to gain more support. And that's what her group does, too, on the street. That's how they recruit people. Oh, Jayda, because, I mean, Jayda is WASP. She's white Anglo-Saxon. I think she was Catholic, though, wasn't she, Sharon?
I think she was, yeah.
Catholic. I think she's Catholic. But she's every much the white person, and she's female. So if she's going through one of these areas and she gets a Muslim man upset at her, yelling at her, spitting at her, you know how outraged the other white privileged men are going to be that are supportive of conservative values when they see a white woman getting attacked by a Middle Eastern man? She's race baiting on purpose to get support, even though she probably deserves it because of what she's doing. She's walking in there and she's being disrespectful and she's yelling in people's faces and causing a disturbance, What do you think people are going to do? Just put up with it? I don't think so.
No.
But apparently they're supposed to, because Britain's a Christian nation and you should get the fuck out. And she wants all Muslims out of Britain anyway. That's her goal. So, but yeah, she's on notice with the local courts right now. May 30th is her next hearing, and she can't wear her pretty little badge. I'm sure they're still going to go walking through the streets and other areas with their crosses.
Wow, sounds like it's only a matter of time till she endorses Donald Trump.
She probably already has. I haven't bothered to look. I wouldn't be surprised if she has. I would not be surprised.
Probably his new running mate.
But, and ironically, Adam, she's all for modesty with women, too. She has no problem with mandated modesty on a governmental level.
Yeah. Shit.
But, God damn it, it's not fair. Those Muslim men are forcing Muslim women to wear a burqa. But with Christian nations running, we will have some mandatory modesty laws.
That's crazy.
Dress the way you want to. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, if you don't like it, don't fucking look. That's my attitude.
That's it.
But anyway, that's the follow-up on Miss Jayda. She's making her usual splashiness.
We're finishing tonight up with the worst witch ever.
Yeah, pretty much.
That'll do it for this week's episode. We've gone through lots of changes, and we want to make sure that you're up to date with us. Check us out at our new and improved webpage, www.unbucklingthebiblebelt.com. Follow us on Twitter using the handles UTBBP, Sharon Bush UTBB, Bluegrass Skep, Joe Kendick, and Adam Fusion, spelled Phuzen. If you'd like to contact us through email, you can do that at utbbpodcast@gmail.com. If you really like us and you want to give us money, you can do that at PayPal using our email address, or at Patreon using the web address www.patreon.com/UTBB. And if you'd like to support us, but you find your pockets aren't quite as deep as you'd like them to be, you can just leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes or Stitcher. Now, let's bow our head for the atheist prayer. O nobody's Father who art nowhere, I know that you can't hear me. Completely ignore this prayer. Nothing art thou, and nothing will thou ever be. Jesus was just a man. A man.